Today's show, we have Chris Watkins and Nathan Hansen. Guys, spring break is just a few days away and everything is heating up. The weather, pointer sports, as well as the beginning of both March Madness and free agency in the NFL. Are you gentlemen excited?
Absolutely. It's pressure time for teams in tournament and for us here with midterms. I'm excited.
Definitely. I overslept for one, but I was able to take it, so pretty dramatic start to the week.
It's going to be good. We got the Pointers in the Sweet 16 hosting this weekend here. They got March Madness starting next week for Division I and then free agency, obviously. Well, we first start with men's hoops. The Pointers have been on a roll this far in the NCAA tournament with convincing home victories over Concordia and Illinois Wesleyan. Against Concordia in an 88-56 win, the Pointers never trailed, shooting a ridiculous 71.7% in the blowout win. In the following game against Illinois Wesleyan, it was more of a grind. The Pointers led by just one at the half before outscoring the Titans 35-19 in the second half. Next up for the Pointers is a shot at redemption. They will host the Emory Eagles this Friday in the Sweet 16 round. In last year's Sweet 16, the Pointers saw their championship hopes come to an end at home with a 76-73 overtime heartbreaker to Emory. Guys, what are your take on the Pointers' run this far, and how do you see the Emory rematch shaping up?
Well, this team has completely impressed me and blown me away in this tournament. They controlled every aspect of the game against Concordia, and they came off a little slow in the first half against Wesleyan, but they turned it on in the second half, which was uncharacteristic of them for the first half of the year. So I think the loss against Oshkosh a couple weeks ago helped them refocus, and I think they're going to win a national title with Whitewater's loss. And I think the Emory game will turn up just like Illinois Wesleyan game did.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that right now. The Pointers overall in those first two tournament games shooting a combined 60% from the field, 24 from 29 from free throw range, so that's about 83%. Also averaging about 33 points in the paint, so they're getting away from how they were playing against that, like that Oshkosh game and that Whitewater game when they were launching a lot of three-pointers and really starting to focus back inside and dominate and bring a more physical element to their game. So as far as the Emory game goes, I just can't see two times being swept off your home court and having to go home for the season. So I like the Pointers to win, mainly led by Jordan Lutz, Austin Riff, Alex Richard, the gold standard as I call them. Those guys have been putting in the work so far this tournament. They had like 59 points combined in that first game, so I like them to carry the load.
You got quite a few nicknames for those teams, players you got. And for this tournament so far, this team is senior-led a lot. Joe Ritchie, I remember one play during the Illinois Wesleyan game that went down. They took a bad shot. He let his teammates have it going back on defense. They got a stop. He came back and finished with a layup. So being the senior-led team, they've definitely had success so far. And against Emory, it's going to be key for them to stop Alex Foster, a 6'7" big who shoots the ball well. He's their leading scorer and leading rebounder, so it's going to be interesting who guards him. And Emory also has a point guard, Michael Flory. It'll be matched up with Austin Riff, so it'll be one heck of a point guard battle. And the Pointers, it's going to be key for them on their home floor. They don't want to go out like they did last year. Big revenge game. Well, while the men's basketball team is already in the midst of tournament play, the men's hockey team will begin its postseason play next weekend. The Pointers received an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament despite falling to Utica River Falls in the WIC title game 3-1. The Pointers took an early 1-0 lead in the first period on a Kyle Sharkey goal, but were outscored 3-0 for the rest of the game. As the Pointers prepare to host Hamline and will be the first UWSB home tournament game since 1994, how do you guys feel about their chances to bring home a national title?
Well, this has been a heck of a year for all these guys, and I think they've overachieved a lot of the year, and I anticipate them winning the next game, maybe a game after that, but I don't see them taking home the title.
I really think it depends on how they start the games. In the games I've seen sometimes they've got off and really just kind of pushed the tempo on offense and created like a 2 or 3 goal lead early. I've also seen games where they've kind of fell behind and had to rally to win or try to rally to win. So I think being 10-3-1 since the last Hamline game, which is a loss for the Pointers, I think they're really hitting their stride. They've had 2 separate 5-game win streaks, averaging about 4.5 goals per game in that 14-game span. So if they can keep those things up, stay aggressive on offense, and really push the tempo of the game, I think they can go pretty deep in the tournament.
Well, it's going to have to start with beating Hamline, a team they lost to, so they'll be definitely looking for revenge, just like the men's basketball team. They only got to win 3 games to win it all. They start in the quarterfinals, but they've been inconsistent, so hopefully they can fix that problem if they want to make a run. Well, the puck drops on Saturday, March 21st, at a time yet to be determined. Well, the women's hockey team saw a good season come to a tough end this past weekend, also falling to UW River Falls in the WIAC championship game by a score of 6-1. The Pointers were unable to climb out of an early 3-0 hole, but left everything they had on the ice in defeat. The Pointers finished the year with an 18-8-2 record. What are your guys' overall takes on the season that was, and how can they come back even stronger next year?
Well, I think this was a good team, and their record showed it, but I think that game against River Falls also showed what they lacked. They got outscored early. They got killed, basically. It was 6-1. So it was difficult, but I think next year they can come back, have maybe a 20-win season. I could see that happening.
Definitely, I feel that River Falls is the team to beat in the conference, but like Nate said, 18-8-2 in the season, that's still nothing to sneeze at. So if you can build on that, maybe get to like the 20-21 win range, and ultimately, provide the championship fortitude that you need in order to get those conference titles and get into the tournament. So they're really only about 1 or 2 wins away, in my opinion, from making the tournament. So from the regular season aspect of it, not really too much improvement that they need to do, but it'll be interesting to see if they can.
Yeah, River Falls definitely the class of the women's WIAC for hockey. It's going to be key for them to replace Jana Belke-Skaugen in net. I mean, they only had 4 seniors, though, or something like that. So they have a lot of young talent, but the key will be in net for them. Well, we'll return after a quick commercial break to talk some high school basketball and, of course, the Wisconsin Badgers as we head into March Madness.
Don't let the snow and cold get you down this winter. The frozen tundra outside may keep you indoors, but here at SPTV, we'll still be getting you the best news, sports coverage, and entertainment that you need. Don't freeze your fingers and toes off to find out what's happening around campus. Stay warm, everyone.
Hey you! Are you creative? Do you like television? Would you like to make a show that appears on air? Then SPTV is the place for you. At SPTV, you can appear on air, learn how to shoot and edit video, write and produce your own show, and most importantly, gain skills and experiences that will last a lifetime. Want to join us at SPTV? Come check us out in the Communication Arts Center, rooms 121 and 130. We'd love to meet you. SPTV. Let's make media together.
SPTV is your home for everything Pointers, only on Charter Channel 983.
Welcome back to Final Take. How about those Spash Panthers? The Stevens Point tore into the competition all the way to the regional championship. Despite a slow start, the Panthers routed the Appleton East Patriots 62-37. They followed that performance with a 77-49 obliteration of the Wildcats of Oshkosh West. Spash boys began sectional tournament play Thursday against Neenah. That game will be at Menasha High School. The Wisconsin Badgers are also running their foes off the court as of late, following a 72-48 destruction of Ohio State in Columbus. Frank Kaminsky, to no one's surprise, had another Wooden Award-worthy game, scoring a game-high 20 points as the 6th-ranked Badgers continue to make their bid for the final spot on the 1-seed line of the NCAA tournament. The Big Ten tournament will greatly help their cause. The Badgers are the top seed and are the odds-on favorite to win. Is there any team who can stop the Badgers from sweeping the conference regular season and tournament titles?
No way. We've already seen the regular season. They've tore through everybody. No one was really close inside the Big Ten. So I think that they take that home easily. I think the best thing for them, hopefully, is they get a 1 seed somehow and avoid playing Kentucky early. But we'll see. But I don't think there's anyone in that Big Ten that can slow them down.
See, I don't think there's anyone except for Maryland. I think that last game, Des Wells and Melo Trimble going off for 42 combined points, holding the Badgers to their lowest point total of the season in that 53-59 loss for the Badgers. I feel that Maryland did a lot of things right. It held Wisconsin to, I believe it was, about 30% shooting in that first half. So I feel Maryland being second in the Big Ten, kind of really the only team that's even near Wisconsin's class. I don't see anybody else really providing any competition. So in that Big Ten title game, I expect it to be Wisconsin and Maryland, and I really feel it can go either way.
I agree with you there. No one's going to stop them until they get into the Big Ten championship game. They're going to roll through the first 2 rounds. Maryland, really the only team that can play with them, as they showed. That game was on the road. Wisconsin did not shoot well at all in the first half. They figured out what they needed to do in the second half, went inside to Frank Kaminsky. I think they'll figure that out for the whole game, and they should win the Big Ten tournament, especially in a good championship game against Maryland. Well, how will they fare in the NCAA tournament against other heavyweights like Kentucky, Duke, and Virginia?
Well, they can beat Duke and Virginia. I mean, you saw them play Duke early in the season. It was close, but they couldn't pull it out. At Virginia, they've slipped as of late a little bit. But Kentucky, I think that team's an NBA team. That team's a whole tier ahead of anyone else. I don't see anyone touching them. And the Badgers don't match up well against Kentucky because of Kentucky's size and their half-court defense. And Wisconsin doesn't like to get out and run, and that's the only way people are getting close to them.
You said Wisconsin can't match up with their size. They have Frank Kaminsky, Nigel Hayes, Sam Decker. They have one of the best front lines in the country with those guys. Douye Dukin coming off the bench, 6'10". They have the size,
Kentucky
and they're going
to
make Kentucky stretch.
That are like 7 feet tall, and their guards are at least 6'2", and they've got wingspan, huge wingspan on everyone. Karl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein, Dakari Johnson. They got Marcus Lee off the bench too. They got 4 guys that are doing what Kaminsky has, and outside of Kaminsky, they haven't had much in the post besides Nigel Hayes.
Those guys are doing as well as Kaminsky? I don't think so.
The only team I see Wisconsin even having a chance to beat right now out of those other 3 is Virginia. And when Justin Anderson returns, I'm not even sure if they'll be able to do that, mainly because Virginia and Wisconsin's like a mirror match to me as far as the defense is concerned. There's a lot. It's like the 85 Bears against the 2000 Ravens or something like that. So I think that'll be like a defensive showcase. Kentucky, for the reason you guys said, having those guys, Willie Cauley-Stein, Trey Lyles, Karl Anthony Towns, Dakari Johnson, having a lot of bodies to throw at Frank Kaminsky, and also the Harrison twins controlling the backcourt. I really feel they have the advantage both in the backcourt and be able to limit Kaminsky enough to win. And against Duke, I don't see it happening because Duke shot 65% the last time they played them. And Trayvon Jackson had 25 of Wisconsin's 70 points, and who knows if he'll be around and be able to play at that impact in a potential matchup against Duke. So I think if you're the Badgers, hope for the Virginia Cavaliers.
I think they definitely have the potential to beat any one of those teams. Duke, they absolutely shot the lights out coming to Madison. There's no way they shoot that well again. Obviously, as we said before, Wisconsin has size to match up with Kentucky. Kentucky, a better defensive team, but they can go cold from the field. They've played down to other teams' level before. They have the talent to do it. We'll see if they can. And if they played Virginia, it would definitely be a low-scoring game like it was last year. Well, when we return from a quick commercial break, we will talk a bit of football, including the start of free agency, blockbuster trades, and reports of a shocking retirement.
Don't have a television? Don't worry. SPTV is available on demand at uwsp.edu/SPTV. Find your favorite shows on our website, plus links to all of our YouTube content. Stay up to date with SPTV news that includes information about campus and community happenings. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. We're SPTV-UWSP Television. SPTV. Let's make media together.
Don't let the snow and cold get you down this winter. The frozen tundra outside may keep you indoors, but here at SPTV, we'll still be getting you the best news, sports coverage, and entertainment that you need. Don't freeze your fingers and toes off to find out what's happening around campus. Stay warm, everyone.
Hi, I'm Laura Braun, the General Manager at SPTV. I'm a Stevens Point native and want to make sure that we're providing you with the best local coverage of all the news, sports, and entertainment as we possibly can. If you have any questions or comments about our organization, feel free to email us or stop by our offices. We're located in the Communication Arts Center at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point and can't wait to meet you, because today we can make media together.
Welcome back to Final Take. The start of NFL free agency is today, and we have already some notable transactions over the past week. LaShawn McCoy is on the move from Philadelphia to Buffalo, Brandon Marshall from Chicago to New York Jets, and Ndamukong Suh is suddenly the richest man in Miami. What do you guys think of these moves?
These moves just floored me. I mean, Suh, everybody knew he was going to get a big contract. I think everyone but the Dolphins are happy that they didn't have to spend the money on him. So I think that helps out everyone. But it helps out Miami to a degree, but I think that's a huge risk with all that money you're throwing in there. And Brandon Marshall to the Jets, they'll help the Jets, except they don't have something to throw it to him. So I don't know about that trade. And that trade shows what they think of Cutler, the Bears. They trade their best receiver. How much trust do you have in Jay Cutler if you trade away his best target? And I also think that the other moves we talked about, no one really expected, and it just kind of came without really any indication. Especially the LaShawn McCoy trade that happened. That was official today. That Chip Kelly has just lost his mind in Philadelphia. So I don't know. There's so many others that happened today that we have yet to talk about.
Yeah, I think LaShawn McCoy going to Buffalo, I think he's going to have a career year. And I know that'll be tough to do because of his 2013, but Rex Ryan, that ground and pound style that he loves to implement with his offense, I think he's going to run LaShawn McCoy into the ground, similar to DeMarco Murray this past season. As far as Brandon Marshall, I hope he's done crying, because if I were him and I were going to the New York Jets, I would be, because there's absolutely nobody to throw him the ball. Maybe the gust of wind on a great day, but besides that, I don't really see. I mean, he'll produce. It won't be his fault, but they have to get that quarterback situation straight. Geno Smith or whomever is under center has to be able to find him and utilize him. As far as Ndamukong Suh, I didn't really expect Miami to be his destination, but now you have to think about the old Jets defense under Rex Ryan that got after Tom Brady. Now you look at Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh and guys of that nature for the Dolphins. They might be able to get pressure on Tom Brady, make him tap dance a little bit, and kind of get him shaking in the pocket. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, the McCoy trade definitely came as a shocker. There's no complaining now for Geno Smith. If he can't produce with Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall, then he's just not cut out for this league. And as for Ndamukong Suh, I heard today that Tom Brady doesn't like pressure from the inside, and Ndamukong Suh is going to give the Lions that, as he's one of the best people to get pass rush ability and get sacks from the defensive tackle position. Well, as a 4 o'clock hit, Adam Schefter has reported the Saints have traded tight end Jimmy Graham to the Seattle Seahawks for center Max Unger and multiple draft picks. Who wins this trade, the Saints or the Seahawks?
Jimmy Graham wins this trade because he's got Russell Wilson throwing it to him now, opposed to Drew Brees, who had a down year last year, but he's going to be the main guy. He's going to be the main guy in Seattle. And I think that trade for New Orleans hurts them dramatically. I mean, they get a center and a couple picks, but what's the center and a couple picks compared to the league's best tight end? So as long as he can stay healthy, he absolutely helps Seattle.
And as of now, I'm still hearing screams of joy from Carolina, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay. Jimmy Graham is gone. I was one of those people screaming in joy. But I think the Seattle Seahawks clearly win this trade. When you get somebody of that nature, an elite tight end in Jimmy Graham, to pair with a Marshawn Lynch, that play-action game with Russell Wilson is going to be absolutely lethal. And if you're the New Orleans Saints, you're just, in my opinion, just kind of camping out for the #1 pick in 2016. Drew Brees and Mark Ingram isn't really going to do too much for me, in my opinion, with his absence. And Marcus Colson kind of on his last legs. Brandon Cook still injury concerns there, although he's nice when he's on the field. But ultimately, New Orleans, I think they're kind of just building for the future at this point.
Yeah, New Orleans definitely going into rebuilding mode. Drew Brees getting near the end of his career. Seattle definitely wins this trade. They get Jimmy Graham. They have someone that they can throw the ball to when they're on the 1-yard line. Let's see what else. Seattle gets a couple draft picks. No, Seattle doesn't get any draft picks. New Orleans gets draft picks, but they will definitely help. And one of those, I think, is a first-round pick, so they'll definitely look to utilize that. Well, it doesn't stop there. Reports are the Rams are close to trading QB Sam Bradford to Philadelphia for Nick Foles and draft pick compensation per sources. If this goes through, who comes out on top?
The Rams. I believe Nick Foles is a way better quarterback than Sam Bradford. I mean, Nick Foles didn't have too much to throw to. He had a little bit with Macklin, but he was injured last year. And the injury concerns of Bradford are something to watch. He hasn't produced in a full season yet, and he's getting paid huge bucks to do nothing. And now he has no receivers to throw to in Philadelphia. So I think this just works out so much better for the Rams and Nick Foles.
If you're Chip Kelly right now, you better have a really good game plan, a really good, end game to this whole thing, because this is just absolutely crazy what he's doing right now. This is why coaches don't get free reign to make trades and personnel moves, in my opinion, because this is just, I mean, it's ridiculous. You trade away LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso, who wasn't there last season, who didn't play in Buffalo last season with that torn ACL, and now this trade. Not only do you send Nick Foles for an injury-prone Sam Bradford, but you send draft picks to St. Louis also. I'm at a loss for words, as you can tell. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah, this trade definitely helps out St. Louis. They've been looking for a quarterback for a while. Now they got Nick Foles that he'll put them over, give them a little bit of a boost. San Fran's going to be definitely down in that division, so St. Louis is going to have to contend with Arizona and Seattle, and now they have a quarterback to do that. Who knows what Chip Kelly is doing in Philadelphia, but I heard that their offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur, he was with St. Louis and Sam Bradford, so maybe that's what will help Sam Bradford out and maybe resurrect his career. And who knows what else Chip Kelly has up his sleeve, maybe to go out and get Marcus Mariota now that he has picks and two quarterbacks that he could trade.
Well, Chip Kelly's up to something. I mean, right now he looks kind of crazy, but he could pull something off. I mean, his offense, it's not based on personnel, it's more based on the system. So I think if he gets a few guys in there, maybe the draft is going to be huge to tell what he's planning to do. But until right now, he looks silly to me.
Well, the Detroit Lions have traded a 4th and 5th round pick to the Ravens for defensive tackle Haloti Ngata and a 7th round pick. Can Haloti Ngata replace Ndamukong Suh in Detroit?
I don't think you can really get a guy to replace exactly Suh, but he's probably the next best defensive tackle in this league. So I think he can do a lot. He can do a lot of damage, just like Suh did, and he's on a less contract. So if I'm the NFC North, I'm a little concerned still.
Yeah, I think Haloti Ngata is a perfect kind of stopgap 2 to 3 year situation for Detroit in the absence of Ndamukong Suh. That way you kind of, I guess develop your other guys in that front line. I believe Nick Fairley will still be in Detroit this coming season and moving forward. So Haloti Ngata will be the perfect guy to mentor, I think, Nick Fairley and those guys like Ziggy Ansah, et cetera, on that D-line. So I think it's a pretty good trade overall for the Lions. They could have done a lot worse.
Yeah, it'll definitely help them out for the short term until they figure out what to do, because he's getting up there in age. Salary cap is quite a bit. So we'll see how he can help them hold off the gap for now. Well, what team is going to sign the next big name free agent?
I think it's got to be the Oakland Raiders. I mean, they have the second most cap room besides Jacksonville, and they haven't made any big moves yet. They signed Malcolm Smith, the former Super Bowl MVP for the Seahawks a couple years ago. But other than that, they haven't really got anyone. And I think they're in a sweepstakes to get someone. I don't know who it's going to be, but there's going to be someone, I think.
I think it'll be the Dallas Cowboys, because I think they'll manage to find a way to get DeMarco Murray back in that white and blue. So Oakland also was looking at DeMarco Murray, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes, but I feel ultimately the league's best offensive line coming off a playoff season, division championship. If you're DeMarco Murray, I think you stay in Dallas. So I think they'll be the next big signing.
And how about the Indianapolis Colts? They've been making moves lately too. They're bringing in Frank Gore and now Andre Johnson visiting there too. Signed Trent Cole for 2-year deal. So what do you think of their moves?
Those are sneaky deals. I like those. They're not like flashy guys out there. They're not the big tier free agents, but they're guys that can still produce. Frank Gore, he was doing it last year. He can do the same thing, and now he's got Andrew Luck tossing the rock around, and you're going to bring in Andre Johnson, one of the probably a top 10 receiver still. So I think they're just building.
Yeah, with Chuck Pagano there, it seems to be kind of implementing that old Baltimore Ravens model. You get a lot of veterans who have proven in this league that they can play and can still play into their advanced stages in their careers, led by a young quarterback like Andrew Luck, get him a nice running game with Frank Gore. And from there, you have T.Y. Hilton still. You still have young guys, Kobe Fleener, et cetera, that can get the job done for you. So they might be able to take the next step and finally reach the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Colts are definitely going to be a team to watch over the next couple of years. Well, Packer fans can rejoice. Randall Cobb will remain in Green Bay as he agreed to a 4-year, $40 million deal, with $16 million guaranteed, along with that signing of Packers right tackle Brian Bulaga. The Packers will be in good shape retaining their own free agents. Well, it is time to say goodbye to one of the greatest players in recent memory. Linebacker Patrick Willis is reportedly retiring after 8 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers. What is your take on Willis's career and legacy as he hangs up his cleats?
He was probably one of the best linebackers that I've seen play in my generation. I mean, 7 straight Pro Bowls. I mean, the only thing that held him back was injuries this year. But I think with Chris Borland playing well, coming in his replacement, he didn't feel like he had to come back. I know he's had some obligations off the field. He wants to work on his family stuff, and he's gotten big into some religion stuff too. So I don't know what the whole issue with that is, but I mean, in his press conference today, he had tears. So I know it was emotional for him to leave this game that he loved so much, that he played so well.
And when you think of short careers, like 8-year careers, you don't really think of many Hall of Famers that only play 8 years. I think Patrick Willis is an 8-year Hall of Famer, coming in 5 All-Pro selections, 7 Pro Bowls, as Nate said, 8 seasons NFC Championship appearances, and 1 victory that led them to that Super Bowl loss against Baltimore. And just being the greatest linebacker of our generation, carry on that torch from Ray Lewis that was passed on to him, set the rookie record, and really just didn't look back ever since then. I feel that he's also walking away under his terms to a degree. His toe was saying, he was saying that, you know, his toe wasn't really going to get better and his health was first. And you know, I think that's a good thing, just because a lot of players don't really get to have their own say-so when they leave or when they're released from a team. So that's why I think Hall of Famer, and a guy who did it his way and walked out his way as well.
He's definitely been one of the best linebackers over the past decade. He obviously had the injury over the past year, but do you think he saw anything coming, that with San Francisco losing their head coach, possibly losing Michael Crabtree, Frank Gore, all these other moves, and just a bunch of turmoil, that he said he doesn't want to go through all this again?
Well, they've lost a lot of guys after this offseason, with Frank Gore leaving, Crabtree, like you said, and they lost their guard, Mike Iupati, too, to the Cardinals. So I don't know how well that team's going to do this year. And I like that he retired with the team he started with. I mean, he wasn't one of those guys that went out and played 3 lackluster years with some other team just because he still had football left in him. I kind of like this move, but I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, like you said, Chris. 7 Pro Bowls in 8 years, that's terrific. I think he plays 2-3 more years, has the same productivity that he did his last couple of years, and I think he is, but I don't know if you can go that far right now.
Well, I think his pedigree that he showed on the field was Hall of Fame talent. Maybe not the longevity, because 8 years is kind of hard to get a nomination for that. But what he did in those 8 years, I mean, he compiled more tackles in 8 years than some people do in 15 or 16. And also, the 49ers losing Justin Smith to retirement as well. You just have to wonder, like, why all this is happening. Ever since Jim Harbaugh said he wasn't coming back, he went on to coach Michigan. And now these personnel moves, Colin Kaepernick being reportedly rumored to the Jets. So it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the offseason folds up. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you all for tuning in today. Also, thanks to Nathan Hansen and Chris Watkins for another great day here at the debate desk, and special thanks to the technical staff and their tireless effort to make this possible. We would also like to announce that we brought home 8 awards this past weekend at the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association, which was the most by any university. The Final Take staff would like to thank all members and staff, along with our viewers at home. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at SPTV UWSP, on Twitter at UWSP_SPTV. Also visit the UWSP homepage to stay up to date on all your Pointer athletics. Remember, Final Take, anything Pointers, anything sports.
This public service announcement is brought to you by SPTV. Hi, my name is Julia Flaherty. I've been living with juvenile diabetes for more than half of my life. I realized fairly early on in my diagnosis that this was an opportunity for me to take responsibility to draw awareness about a disease that, according to JDRF.org, affects almost 3 million Americans today. November is National Diabetes Awareness Month. That's why I'm asking you to tweet me at Miss Trenchie on Twitter to tell me how you are going to help the world be diabetes-free. This disease is not curable. It is treatable. But for some people, that doesn't make it any less tolerable. Whether you have juvenile diabetes, know someone that does, or are just inspired to learn more about it, the month of November gives you a great opportunity to start. Don't push disease to invisibility. Set it free. This public service announcement is not affiliated with JDRF.org. This has been an SPTV production. Together, we strive to make media with UWSP students.
These guys care about sports. The talk continues after the cameras stop rolling. Watch Final Take only right here on SPTV for anything Pointers, anything sports.
Got an itch to be on air?
Join the SPTV News crew. Being an on and off-air reporter will help you gain experience in interviewing, shooting and editing video, and reporting behind the anchor desk. Join SPTV News, pointing to you.